Hello, welcome back to Creepy and Kooky. I'm Lauren-BLAIR Donovan, and welcome back to Clark Canez.
I'm here, guys. Hi.
You may remember him from the semi-ill-fated Holy Cross Cemetery. It wasn't. We found people. It wasn't
tragic or anything.
No.
I mean, well, tragic that we were in a cemetery, but other than that, it was it was a little bit of a tough day.
Yeah, we got dinged with security right away, and while he eventually was like, right this way, let's I'll show you even some of the graves. We were very in our heads about trying to protect the more anonymous, and I wasn't having as much fun as I normally do in these videos, and I forgot to ask him some death questions. So he is back today for kind of a retake, but we're at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, which I went to in the first episode with Elizabeth McIrvin. And we missed some. Thank you. We missed some people, so we're gonna catch them today, which we are excited about. We were supposed to have Cozy Orland with us as well. It's gonna be our first 3-person, but he's not feeling well, so just the two of us. But he was in another ill-fated episode, Mount Sinai, so he'll be back sometime soon.
Yeah. He's got to make up. I know that one. That one was. I will say that one was a lot worse. Like, I feel fortunate that ours wasn't. Yeah,
we at least found people. I only kept the footage because Cozy was so funny in it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm like, this is not going to be interesting. We found Mama Cass and just got lost. Two Canadians getting lost. But he had a lot of cool points. Cozy, did we finally find our first grave after an hour?
So exciting. Oh my God, congratulations. We pulled it off.
It is Mama Cass Elliott. So we're going to go find some people, but real fast. We got Lady Grim. Back in her little backpack, which I forgot to do at the last filming.
Yeah.
Here's this lovely fall day, which by fall I mean 70 here.
Yeah, it's a Southern California fall.
I'm in a sweatshirt and I'm actually in pants. I'm not dressed.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not dressed like I died at prom in the 70s today. I'm like, I'm gonna decide if I can wear like bell bottoms and still feel creepy and kooky. So we'll find out.
Exactly. But you know what? Yeah, it's a really nice day. It's a little hazy too.
It's been hazy for like a week or two.
Which is pretty cool. So there's a little bit of ambiance with that.
November ambiance.
Yes.
So we actually see Burt Reynolds across the lake, and I think I finally know how to find Dee Dee Ramone. So this is gonna be a good day for me. Even if we just get those two, I'm happy. So
okay, let's go do it.
Bye. Here we go, Burt Reynolds. He had some drums, I think, getting into this. Like, he didn't have like a resting place for a while. Did you read about that?
Oh no, I didn't know about
this.
This
is like it was only like a year ago or something he was interred. I forget if his remains just weren't being released to a certain family or if they didn't know where to put him. Like, I genuinely don't remember offhand what it was, but yeah, he's here now, and clearly some Day of the Dead Halloween stuff has been going on here.
We got some marigolds there, which is cool.
Skeleton.
It's really strange whenever I hear about like, oh, this person, because even with my grandma passed away earlier this year, and it was like 2 or 3 months before the funeral, and I was like, wow, what the heck? Like, usually we're like
it's really common to delay stuff. I just went to my friend Emily's mom's celebration of life thing, and it was like months after she died, but that was more because of COVID. He died in 2018.
2018.
But yeah, what's your favorite Burt Reynolds role?
Burt Reynolds, Smokey and the Bandit. I mean, it has to be Smokey and the Bandit. And I will say, one of the best guests on like Johnny Carson. I don't know if you've ever go on YouTube.
I haven't.
Go on YouTube, and he'll be on with like Dom DeLuise. Him and Dom DeLuise. It's just like such a fun. Like, I mean, that was really kind of the like, swinging 70s.
That was the height of like night, late night.
Yeah, like
70s, 80s.
Exactly. And you know what's funny is sometimes, and it was weird about back then, like now when people go on, it's always about like promoting a movie. Like I feel like back then they would just be like, hey, Burt Reynolds, are you around? Yeah,
or they were better at being less like shameless pluggy.
Yes, exactly. So most of the interview was them just like telling stories, and he was such a tremendous storyteller. Like if you go on there, if you go on YouTube, you could probably find it, or you could probably go on, I think there's like a channel called Cozy, which Cozy was supposed to be here.
Not his channel.
Not his channel, but they have like reruns of like Johnny Carson and such. What about you? What's your
Boogie Nights?
Oh my God!
Favorite movies ever. They did a screening here over the summer, and I wasn't able to make it. I forget why.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know he did not get along with the director, and it's like kind of known. But like, that's a perfect movie in my world. It's one of my favorites. I can watch it all the time. So it's got to be Boogie Nights for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, and especially like, you know, definitely. Like kind of he got kind of Travolta'd, you know, where he, you know, he was like not doing, I think like before that it was like striptease.
He had to come back. He was in striptease?
I think, was it striptease or?
It was not Showgirls. I know
not Showgirls.
That was striptease.
Yeah, striptease. And I remember that was like one of the last ones before that.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of cool that he was like, oh yeah. Oh, I know what it is. I know, you know what? I changed my mind. All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh,
he was the voice of Charlie.
That movie scared the bejesus out of me as a kid, and Jen Curcio, could not find Judith Barcy's grave at Hollywood Hills.
Who's? Oh.
The child actor who was murdered.
Oh, right.
Anne Marie and
yes.
We looked for her for an hour, and we could not find her.
Oh, man, that sucks. Yeah.
I didn't realize he was in All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah. He was the voice of Charlie.
As the dog, right?
Yeah, as the dog. And, man, I don't think I've cried as much on any movie besides that one. I mean, just...
It's a sad movie.
It's such a sad movie.
I saw it when I was 6, and I never want to see it again.
Yeah,
it's too much. Dogs dying is too much. Humans fine. Dogs
fine. That's right. I mean, that's... Exactly. That's why, like, those commercials, you know, those Sarah McLachlan commercials...
Arms of the Angel.
It's just like, you can't... It's devastating. No. But then if there's, like, you know, other people, you know, but no, not
especially quite cartoon dogs. They can be immortal, literally.
Yeah.
Pluto hasn't died yet.
Yeah. They made that choice.
It was a choice.
It was a bad
choice.
Them.
It was a bad choice.
Yeah.
But may he rest.
May he rest, yes.
He's with Charlie now.
Yes. He's with Charlie.
Sunbathing turtles. There's so many animals at this.
Yeah.
It's like an amusement park. Or a zoo, rather.
Yeah, and it's so strange because it really is like in the middle of the cluster.
You would never think that this is like the heart of Hollywood. Look who I finally found. It's only like my 10th time at the cemetery. All of the directions on the internet were kind of wrong. They were kind of right, but kind of wrong. They should have just said near Cecil DeMille's grave.
Right.
I don't know why any of them did not say that. I don't understand.
Yeah, or this giant crypt next to it.
Right. Like there's so many. They made it seem like the internet's like when you pull in, make an immediate left, which is right that section.
Right, yeah.
And then I saw it meant this like Garden of Legends area, but I'm like, I've come to this area. I didn't realize he was on the other side. See, his bandmate, Johnny Ramone's on the other side of this lake.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Together again.
Okay, I gotta go now.
Yeah.
Ugh. I like that he has an American flag. I did not see that being his accoutrements. But look at all these guitar picks.
I know, look at them. I mean, like, really cool. Really, yeah. I mean, he's so
influential.
Kiss mark.
There's a kiss mark.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, especially, like, just last weekend it was Day of the Dead. Or this last week it was Day of the Dead, so...
Yeah.
Definitely gotta pay your respects. I made the mistake of watching Coco last weekend, and a devastating movie. Don't watch it. Oh, really? It's so good.
I've heard it's good, but I heard you cry.
Oh, immediately.
I don't like crying.
Like you start immediately crying. It's weird. I mean, you know, because I'm Mexican American, and so it's like really cool to like kind of see that celebration of life like that, like the way that they do. And obviously it looks like people were celebrating him. And
don't they do a big Day of the Dead festival here, like kind of officially sanctioned?
Yes. And I'm actually surprised that they cleaned it up within a week.
I mean, there's still some graves that look like they were.
Yeah, but they have full on kind of like they're called ofrendas.
Okay.
And that's where they go and they light candles and they put up pictures, because in Mexican culture it's a you're celebrating their life, but also it's them coming to visit you. So if you don't put up a photo of your loved one, they can't cross over to the land of the living and be with you and stuff like that. So they put up marigolds and they put up like their favorite food. They will put something out for them and stuff, almost like a spooky Santa Claus thing, I guess.
Ghost Santa Claus.
Yeah, but except it's your loved one, so they're not gonna hurt you or anything, because
they don't become dead and hate you.
Yeah, exactly. They don't become.
That's not how that works at all.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's but Dee Dee Ramone, it's so cool that he's so next to his bandmate. I wonder, Phil Spector died recently, right?
Yeah, I think he died of COVID, this winter.
Yeah, and I'm I know that they had a spat, like Dee Dee and
that sounds
Phil
right.
Spector,
I read his autobiography, Lobotomy, a million years ago.
Okay,
that's one of those I need to reread because a lot of the details escape me. But it was a bummer because he wrote it when he was clean, and then he ended up dying of a heroin overdose. Not long after he wrote the autobiography.
Sad. Yeah, sometimes it's those demons that come back to you and stuff. But he lived a great life. I mean, you have to admit, he lived one of the coolest life. One of a pioneer. I mean, because when we were at the other cemetery, there was a we went to Darby Crashes. Great.
They would not have existed without the Ramones.
Yeah. And here we are with Jan Paul Beam. This is Darby Crash over here.
I like to kind of make fun of people who say they like punk and cite the Ramones as the only punk that they like.
Right.
But truth be told, they might be my favorite punk band. Even though I like other punk,
they're
just. And I love that they love the Beach Boys and they just made punk Beach Boys songs half the time.
And girl group songs. Yeah.
They were just they're such fun rock and roll.
Yeah.
And if you claim that you're hardcore and like punk and you only can cite the Ramones, I'm gonna kind of snark at you. But I'm also a little bit secretly on your side because even though I like a lot of other punk, I really love the Ramones. A lot.
And it's funny because my dad lived through the punk era. He saw every punk band in the late 70s, early 80s, and he said still the Ramones, it was nothing like seeing the Ramones because it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and they would just go into the song. And how you go see a band and they'll banter in between? Yeah. They're nope, we're just 1, 2, 3, 4, go into the next song. And then the song's only 2 minutes long.
That's it.
Yeah. They have 50 songs that sound exactly
and still an hour. It's still only an hour set.
Yeah, it's still only an hour set, and they're just zooming through it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's still and I truly do think it's just so enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah.
I think they really distilled it down to a rock and roll into its basic parts. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Lovely. Yeah.
We love you, Dee Dee.
We love you, Dee Dee. For sure. And you know what? I love a band that commits to being a band. They're we're going to change our last names.
We're the Ramones now. Literally, that's our last name. It's on our graves. Even though, Douglas, Glenn, Colvin, different last names, they still honored it. They didn't legally change it, but that's amazing.
How fun is that? Hey, we're such a band. We're going to commit this hard to where our documents are going to have our names, We're
going to be known for all having the same last name.
Exactly. And it's so fun. And hopefully he's out there
jamming.
Yeah, jamming. Even though I don't know about the afterlife, who knows?
Yeah, I don't really know if I buy that, but
me neither.
It's a great thought, and I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah, I would love to be wrong too, but
yeah. Wow. Yay. I found him finally.
I know.
This was the bane of my existence. Now I have a new problem I get to complain about. What? I don't know, but it's not this.
Yeah, you'll find it. You'll find it. Don't worry.
I will.
Today, maybe.
Yeah. All right, we found Kim Fowley.
Wow.
Clark and I are going to have a conversation when we walk away, but he basically founded the Runaways.
Yes. One of my favorites of all time.
They're another one that's just up there where the simple chords, the fun music, good times rock and roll. That's what it is.
For sure. Like, definitely groundbreaking, especially like from a feminist
there wasn't girl groups in the rock and roll sense.
Exactly. And look at it's so I don't know. Did you see the Runaways movie?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I love it.
Michael Shannon played him, right? It was
I
Michael
don't know
Shannon.
who the actor is, so I'm not going to be much help.
Michael Shannon plays him in the movie, and he does such a good job because
he did a good job, whoever he was. Yeah, I didn't know him.
He captures that so.
Eccentric mania.
Right, exactly. I mean, he's coming from the 60s and stuff like that. And really, if you think about it, the 70s couldn't be any more different than the 60s, like in some ways.
Oh, but they're really different. They get blurred together a lot, but they're really different.
Yeah, and he really adapted to the 70s. I think that was just like his time to really like found a group, and it was one of the most perfect bands. I mean, you look at you listen to those albums, you could listen to those all the way through. Not a bad song. Also,
Joan Jett is a queen. She's a goddess. Oh, yes. She's a legend. She will never die, even when she mortally dies. Yeah, that's just how I feel.
Right. She's from PA, right? I think.
Oh, is she? I didn't know that. That's right.
Jen Curcio and I saw her at the fair. Probably like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, we saw her with.
Why didn't I know you guys 3 or 4 years ago?
I know. Seriously, but it was so funny. It was at the Pomona, the LA County Fair in Pomona. So such a good.
I saw her a couple years ago in Denver.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
doesn't age. She's a vampire as
she
far as I'm concerned.
She does not age. It's crazy.
She even did I remember being a teenager and reading about her in 17 magazine before I even knew who she was.
17.
And I don't know why they were talking about Joan Jett, because it was not that era. I pretend I'm 53 years old, but I'm not actually 53 years old. Not even close. I'm a millennial. But she was saying, because they were asking, what's your skin secret? She's like, well, I don't know. I quit drinking in my 20s.
Nice.
And quit doing drugs and smoking. So there you go, guys.
Yeah, stop doing drugs and drinking, unless they're fun. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like, and also that and Lita Ford.
Oh my God, that's right.
Which that was. I'm not gonna lie, that was probably one of my first crushes.
Cherie Currie.
Huh?
Cherie Currie. I'm saying her name wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah. She was married to the actor from Airplane. Did you know that?
No, you mean
Robert Hayes?
Robert Hayes. Yeah.
They are divorced now. They have a kid, but they're still friends.
That's such a weird.
But I'm like, it's such a weird combo. But yeah, they live in the Valley, I think, somewhere, and I'm like separately because they're divorced. But I think it's one of those weirdly friendly. And I'm like, that's just. Dude, the Runaways are the coolest.
Yeah, they're the coolest. Go check them out if you haven't heard them. Possibly
you have. You've probably heard some.
Yeah,
but, you're okay. What's wrong with Baby Grimmy? Baby Grimmy's like, wow. All right, so we're going to have a larger conversation now about Kim Fowley. I did not want to do it at the grave, no matter what sins people commit. I don't feel great talking ill of them at their grave. That's just a respect line. I broke the rules for Marilyn Monroe because of the creepy men buried near her, but
you know what? They deserve that. They legit deserve that.
Yeah, that was a choice they made about death, a little different.
Yeah.
So, Liz McIrvin and I had a lot of trouble finding Kim Fowley, and I eventually was like, it's fine. He did some predatory stuff. Yeah. And Kim Fowley, look, I don't want to be disrespectful to the dead. He helped found the Runaways, which I'm a diehard fan of. Diehard fan of Joan Jett. He had some nice... Well, by nice, I mean not so nice rumors about how he treated some people. I don't want to be disrespectful at someone's gravesite, but I don't know. Maybe it's okay I didn't find his grave.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be.
I kind of just wanted to go. I wanted to go as like a rock fan, but not as a woman, if that makes sense.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
I don't know. I don't like to judge people I didn't know in life, but sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. So.
Yeah.
And Clark and I had a conversation when we pulled up, like, okay, if we can find him, we'll find him.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the good, but we're also going to say, just like a larger conversation, like, can you admit that somebody did some bad stuff but also created good music. Where's the line?
Yeah. So I have there's like an interesting thing in my life. Growing up, Morrissey was probably one of my favorite artists of all time.
He's an a-hole now.
But he's such an a-hole now. Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely is a lot different. I will say, like, at the time, he wasn't like the way he is now.
Yeah.
Where he kind of supports far and anti...
He's just a diva, too. He, like, cancels shows randomly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, talk about cancel culture.
He cancels his own culture. That's what I'm hearing.
Like, no joke. I've had more cancellations with him than any artist. But he was a real hero to me because he really spoke for the people trying to find their footing in the world and stuff like that. And now he's very anti, immigrant or whatever. Long story short, I've canceled him in my heart. But the thing is, I still love his music. And Nick Cave actually wrote an interesting thing about that because he's like, when an artist or a, whatever artist puts out something, it's no longer theirs. That piece of art is actually yours now.
That's a good point.
Because it's your interpretation. Like, that's what really matters.
Yeah.
And, once the artist, it's not theirs anymore. So that's the way I kind of feel about that. I'm able now to separate that. Because I didn't watch Rosemary's Baby.
Because of what's his face?
Yeah, because of Roman Polanski.
Thank you. Yes.
And I just.
But then we're forgetting Sharon Tate in the meantime.
Exactly. Yeah. So all this stuff, to say that I think there is a way to support it. I know this sounds weird, but maybe download it from somewhere. Don't support it financially, I guess.
But it's hard because does any of the royalties go to the Runaways though? That's the thing. This is the thing.
Well,
when Cosby went off the air, even before he got jailed and released, they pulled his show in syndication, and there was a lot of actors that were not getting royalty checks because of that were not Bill Cosby, that did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And then one of them was even slammed for working at a Trader Joe's or something.
Yeah.
In we're going to make fun of people falling from Graceway, and that's not cool either. So it's it's important to have these conversations, and I don't think either one of us is saying this is how you should or shouldn't feel, but I want to live in a world where we have space to discuss this stuff.
Yeah.
And we have space to be wrong if we get it wrong, and the room to learn the lessons. I don't want to be attacked on the internet for going to Kim Fowley's grave. I'm willing to learn if that was wrong to commemorate him, but currently I think it's murky. I think you can hate the guy or the memory of the guy, but not his other legacies. Plus, I think Joan Jett remained friends with him until he died.
Yeah,
I don't, and that does not mean that the other people were lying or that he didn't do other fucked up shit. People are just so weirdly nuanced. Sometimes they pick someone to look innocent with so they never fuck up around. So I don't want to say that wasn't the case, but sometimes people can do terrible things but be good friends with other people. It's so I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answers are.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm okay, we're gonna have this talk.
Yeah, I mean, if you go through history, everyone sucks. Everyone sucks. I mean, if you think about getting to America getting to the moon, oh my god, what a great accomplishment. That was done by literal Nazis, got us to the moon, and it's and
Gandhi was problematic AF.
Gandhi was Mother Teresa is problematic
AF.
Exactly.
No, she really was. No, it's true. So it's just
I will say I don't think anybody's perfect. I mean,
some things are worse than others. That's 100% worth noting.
And I think if anybody is confronted by it and doubles down on it, that's much worse. But I feel you could, you should have. So it's up to you. It's up to your discretion and stuff like that. But I think the problem is when people stop talking about it.
And that's why I wanted to do this segment. So if people were offended, I hope they're still watching and see that I'm sort of struggling. As he allegedly did some bad stuff. Yeah. But let's have the conversation versus be we're holier than thou.
Right.
So we're just gonna not talk about one of our favorite bands.
Right.
And by not talking, or we will, but we won't talk about their genesis. That kind of starts to rewrite history. Gotten Judy Garland, but Clark has never seen this, so we happened to stumble by where we couldn't find her last time, even though I've been here. I overshot it by one door. That's really pretty what they did. That wasn't here last time, so it's worth showing it again.
Yeah, look at that. I mean,
It's really pretty.
It's beautiful, and also, what is this? Oh, we have some Star Wars stuff here too. Yeah. But wow, what a performance!
I know. I finally just saw the movie with Renee Zellweger that she played her.
Yes, right. I didn't see it. Is it good?
I wasn't moved either which way.
Okay.
It was fine. She was really good. Renee Zellweger was really good.
Yeah,
I think it was just such a specific time in her life.
Yeah.
It was just like a 5-year chapter, or even 2-year chapter. So it was like really sad.
Like a tragic.
Yeah, which I'm game for. You don't need to whitewash anything for me, but
Yeah, for sure. Wow.
this is really cool.
But
This was very different than last time because of the decorations. And then they have this guest book. It was like literally it only goes back like a month. They just put a new one in all the time.
Wow.
Like the date entries. It's pretty crazy.
Gosh. Yeah, that's a lot in here. I have bad handwriting, otherwise I'll write something. But...
I have the worst handwriting ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can't draw, I can't write. I'm gonna do a Instagram art series that shows how bad I am.
Are you right-handed?
Sort of.
So you're ambidextrous a little
Sort of. I sprained my wrist so much
that
I'm a left-handed puppeteer because I can't puppeteer with my right hand.
There's certain things that I could do with my left hand that I can't do with my right hand.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I think I do favor my left sometimes, but I'm more right-handed.
Yeah.
But now, especially since learning to puppeteer, it's a little bit of both. Like I was mini golfing last night, and I had to figure out which side I wanted to do.
Okay.
I did right, but I was for a minute. I was like, should I do left?
Yeah, because I know I could golf left-handed.
Oh, interesting.
And so I think what happened maybe to both of us is that we were both left-handed and we got it
maybe
taught out of us.
It's possible. Also, I really did screw up my right wrist a lot, so I've had to learn to overcompensate. So I think that might be more my case.
Yeah.
But this is so crazy.
Yeah, it's really cool. What interesting.
We got Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley, and I'm gonna admit what a moron I am because everyone that watches this already knows this. I misquote stuff all the time. Liz and I actually saw him, and I misquoted the wrong show. I think I said Three's Company and not Laverne and Shirley, and there's not a great way to post-edit that. But I wanted to pay David Outlander, 70s sitcom star, respect, and I really like his cremation niche like a lot.
Yeah.
He's got a snow globe.
And it's so, man, that was one of my favorite shows. I mean, I'm a kid who just grew up on syndication. I like absolutely grew up on syndication, and you know him and Michael McKean, you know the other actor who played Lenny, one of my favorite comedic duos in sitcom history. So funny, and wow, what a tremendous actor. But
I didn't realize he died until I passed this. Like he didn't, because you know you were looking at lists of famous internments, and you start to go cross-eyed, especially in a place like this when there's like 600. And so he didn't ping for me, but then when I walked by, I'm like, wait, I know this person, and I didn't even realize he died, to be honest.
Yeah, well, from this book, it looks like he had multiple sclerosis, and you know, it's
that sucks.
Yeah, it's weird because there's no like little plaque saying like when he died, or it does say when he was born though, 1947.
What's the hat say? Oh, Pittsburgh Pirates?
It looks like he's
Pennsylvania, except I'm from the Philly side, but I'm more of a Denver girl.
There's
my
the
sport
PNC
teams.
Park. I guess
that's where the Pirates play.
Yeah, so that's cool. He really loved baseball. That's
I like
awesome.
baseball, David.
Yeah.
I like baseball.
Yeah.
We could have been friends.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of death, Clark?
I'm personally not. I've never really been. I've always, I mean, like I was talking about before, like I'm Mexican American, and we kind of accept that death is a part of life, and you know, we do what we need to do, in life, and if we if we die in the middle of it. I grew up an atheist, so I've never been like, oh well, there's a afterlife, so
waiting
I have to
for
be.
You.
Yeah, exactly. So instead I'm more like, I feel like we're here to like leave the place better than we found it. Like that's my personal philosophy. So
it's a good philosophy. More people should adopt that, even if they believe in an afterlife. I'm just saying.
Right, exactly. And I don't really. I've never been afraid of it. I was talking to you about like in my family we have wakes.
Yeah.
And so basically the night before the funeral of a family member, we will go to the mortuary and we will actually have a little party. We'll have little like drinks and stuff like that. And it's a full-on party with an actual body.
It's different than a viewing, because we in Pennsylvania would do viewings. It wasn't a party per se, but you would like line up to view the body or the casket or both.
Right.
But we didn't have drinks and hang around usually.
Yeah. So we would just like hang out there. I mean, I will say the body would be in a different like part of the mortuary.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, like in one room. So it'd be like one room where we would go in and, just like say something to. And, that's the way that we kind of did it. And I kind of feel like that made me more comfortable with death. And it's like, death is, also there's a great Twilight Zone episode called, I forgot what the episode's name is, but Robert Redford's in it. And he plays, spoiler alert, he plays death, but like he ends up taking a woman's soul, and like she's afraid to die, but he's like, it's okay, it's nothing to be scared of. You just, it's just like an instant. So no, I'm not scared. What about you?
I don't want to die before I'm ready. I have stuff to do, and since I don't really believe in an afterlife either, I'm a little more open-minded spiritually than I've ever been, which is too long of a conversation for this particular video.
For sure.
But no, I don't really believe in it. I don't believe in a God.
Yeah,
Blank period. Blank period. An afterlife, what's energy, what's consciousness?
Right.
I'm a little more malleable, especially the past couple months. I've been maybe re-examining some stuff.
Right.
But no, this is my life. Despite the fact that it sucked, I actually like it.
Yeah.
Despite it. And I still, and I feel like I have a lot to say because of what I've been through. So I'll be mad if I die before I get to do the stuff I want to do. And there's certain personal bucket list stuff. And no, I will totally haunt y'all if I die before I'm ready.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm going to haunt. If it's possible, I'm going to haunt people.
I plan on it. I plan on, even if I don't think it's possible to haunt, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm magical, goddammit.
Right. I'm going to find some spots.
Yeah.
To like pop out and like really get people,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Blair Witch, Blair Ghost,
Yes.
But I don't know. I would like to get to a point where I'm not afraid of it, because I am afraid of it though.
But that makes sense. That
especially since I've seen so many people die young. I don't like it.
I'm not afraid. I guess I'll say like I'm not afraid to be dead. I'm afraid of dying, if that makes sense.
Well, there's actually a really great, not to get super new atheist on you guys if you haven't already left because you're offended, but Richard Dawkins had an interesting part of the God delusion where he said, I don't remember not being born. That wasn't so bad, or not being born yet, rather. I don't remember not existing. So it's probably similar with death. And that was weirdly comforting to me. So I was like, oh, yeah, if you don't remember not existing, you're not going to be aware you're not existing if nothing happens.
Exactly.
I can kind of live with that, pun intended.
Yeah.
Or not intended.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but of course, I'm not going to like, do super risky stuff, but like.
No, don't. I hate it when people are like, life's short, live long. It's like, you still don't have to like speed.
Right, exactly.
You don't have to court death. You can take chances that are calculated and meaningful, but you shouldn't do every drug on the planet and like, bungee jump without a cord. Like, don't invite, like, I don't, because I also have seen a lot of, I talk about my parents all the time because they're my parents. I've had friends die young too, and they've made decisions that were maybe not the best, and some of it could have been more freak accidents. That's another story for another time. But there's one in particular that I know drove too fast.
Right.
And I'd kind of yell at him all the time.
Exactly.
And so it's like, just don't invite it. Don't invite it.
Right. Because I don't want to take somebody out.
No, that too.
You know,
That
while
too.
I'm going out. I just want to like, I think the thing is like, I think sometimes people are so afraid of death they don't do anything. And that was part of that Twilight Zone episode where this woman wouldn't leave her house because she was afraid of inviting death, and I get that, and I totally I get that, but like
that was me in the pandemic, immune compromised.
Right. I mean exactly, but you know you have to like understand that like I have to. You know, it's a balance.
It is.
Just like anything. You have to...
It is. Yeah. You don't want to take it too far and not do anything, and you don't want to... I think it's a privileged position to think you can do anything and not die. It's an invincibility thing because you haven't seen it firsthand. So that's where that balance is for sure.
Yeah. And it's weird. And I will say, like, I've seen... kind of a lot of dead bodies. I know this sounds crazy.
No, I was talking about that in the last video, actually.
Yeah.
It's not out yet, but it will be by the time this airs.
Yeah, because I even worked a job, actually, that I just left. But, like, you know, I was, like, a property manager, and I would go into people's houses, or in their rooms, so there would be, like, a wellness check. So they'd be like, hey, we have to get into this room. And
I'm like,
okay. Yeah. So I've found, I think, 7 or 8 bodies.
I've always wondered about jobs like that, like even or working in a hotel and people don't check out for a very specific reason, or like, wow, that's fascinating. I have questions, but I'm going to save it for later. I'm going to think on it and try to find the most succinct ones. But
for sure,
thank you for sharing that.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's weird.
We found Rudolph Valentino, who's the first heartthrob? Is that
more or
less
one of
correct?
the first, definitely one of the first. I mean, look he died in 1926.
Was it even the talkies yet?
He wasn't.
Yeah, he was silent, right?
I think there was like some people saying that he didn't even speak English very well, so like he wouldn't have maybe even made it out of...
How was he able to be directed though?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Pointing and stuff. So yeah, we were talking about his name. This is his full name. Rodolfo Alfonso Raffaello Pierre Filbert Guglielmelli de Valentina de Antongella. That's the whole thing.
What I love about that is we're now in a day and age where you have any kind of ethnic name, whatever that may or may not be, you're allowed to keep it. You don't have to like Americanize it.
Right, yeah.
Nope, he still would have to Americanize that.
He would.
Too long.
There's just, I mean, that's like
It's pretty late.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 names. Yeah, that's a lot.
9 names. Even with like Catholicism and you have like a confirmation name.
Right.
That's a lot of names.
Yeah.
You have a lot of names, sir.
Yeah.
And you have a dinosaur and a ducky.
But right, so...
Which I think is amazing. And wow, he's still getting kiss marks.
Yeah.
He's been dead 96 years.
Yeah.
And people still love him. But you have a fun anecdote.
Yeah, so, interesting. So he was actually, he didn't have a burial. He died in New York. He died in Brooklyn. So he didn't have a final resting place because he died so young. He had no arrangements.
How old was he?
He was,
31?
Yeah, 31. So his friend, who was June Mathis, later on Balboni, she was, you know, a good friend of his, but she was like, hey, well, I have a spare plot that I could be next to him. I'll be next to Rudolph Valentino for the rest of my life. Almost kind of the way Marilyn Monroe had these...
Richard F. Puncher.
Right, so she was like, oh, for the rest of my life I'm gonna be
But they knew each other in real life.
They did.
A little different. She doesn't even have a death date.
You know what? I'm gonna say, like, no joke, I think she died quite not long after.
I think you're right. I do remember reading about this.
So she was like...
I do remember reading about this, like, before I came here the first time.
Okay, so truth is stranger than fiction, and I can think of very few examples that better illustrate that than the case of Rudolph Valentino's grave. After we filmed, I went down a very deep rabbit hole because I was super intrigued about the logistics of what had happened. I knew that this story kind of existed, but I didn't really know who Rudolph Valentino was personally that much. I just knew the legacy. So after visiting his grave, I wanted to look it up. And what I found was we got a few things wrong that are pretty fascinating. So June Mathis Balboni was married at the time, and she had these two crypts because she was, well, married at the time, and that's where she wanted her and her husband to go. She was also very instrumental in Valentino's career. He was already a working actor before her, but he became much bigger once she discovered him. I believe she was a casting director of some kind. So when he unexpectedly died, what had happened was his estate was not liquid, so it was hard to obtain his own burial space. But also, there was debate about if he was going to go back to Italy, where he was from, or stay in the States. So this is why she offered up this temporary solution. When he was interred into her crypt, which is on the left as you see it, so buckle up because that comes back into play in a second, she said something to the effect of, "You can sleep here until I need this crypt, my friend." She did not think she was going to die a year later. So when she did, her husband moved Rudolph Valentino into his crypt, the one you see on the right, so that June Mathis Balboni could be on the left. Now, I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's how they slept in bed and she wanted that side and he wanted that side. It's also the last row of like columns of crypts, if you will, until the mausoleum stained glass window at the end. So I don't know, maybe the guy wanted the window seat. I have no idea why they were so particular about which crypts would be their final resting places, especially when eventually what had happened after June's in her crypt and Rudolph is in her husband's presumed crypt, her husband actually moved back to Italy and decided that upon his death, he did not want to go back to the States. So he actually ended up selling his crypt to Rudolph Valentino's brother, and that is how Valentino ended up being there for all of eternity now. June never intended for Rudolph Valentino to be next to her for all of eternity, nor did she think that her husband would not be there. So this is a pretty wild story. I don't think Rudolph Valentino had any idea where he was going to end up. June Mathis did not expect to die so young. I mean, it's just kind of a mess. So I don't even know what to say. I know these things happen because of course they do, but I had no idea that it could be so messy and it could become a rumor that she secretly wanted to be near him. Like she never wanted to be near him. I mean, they were friends, but she wanted to be next to her husband, and her husband, who outlived her by I think quite a bit, changed his mind and moved elsewhere. So write down your plans, write down your contingency plans. I don't know what else to say. My goodness. I hope they're all resting in peace at this point.
I didn't even go in this building. This is by the lake, a mausoleum by the lake. So sometimes the internet's like, the mausoleum, and you're like, you don't know what that is. There's a million.
There's a million. Yeah, when you say mausoleum, that can mean like 15 different buildings here.
So, this is this is really old. I found a grave from 1950 something, but that's as young of a grave as I can find in this section. Or 81, beloved psychic.
Yeah. But still, wow, beloved psychic.
I'm gonna do this because you know what? She's psychic, so she knew that I was coming.
Yeah.
So I feel like she knew the internet was gonna happen in 1981. I'm gonna choose to make that decision, and I feel like you want to be remembered as a psychic if you put beloved psychic. So I'm not I'm not gonna gatekeep this because she was anonymous. She wasn't. Vera, that's not Vera Bizel, Reverend, who's a psychic.
Yeah.
This lady fascinates me, and I'm going to Google her all night long.
I mean, it's amazing. This is definitely, I would imagine she probably had like a huge crush on. I feel like some people who were buried here were like, oh,
Let's look at Rudy.
yeah, let's experience Rudy for the rest of our lives.
There's a Virginia Ruth Mathis though.
Yeah.
I guess. Oh, there's a William Mathis.
Yeah, so I think maybe
this was a family plot.
She bought this whole thing.
Can you imagine transporting a body in the 1920s from New York to here?
I know.
Like I know Abe Lincoln. That's when we started in bombing. So
yeah, I mean, getting somebody across the country. Because, like, ice wasn't really a thing, like, for, like, sodas or whatever.
It's even, like, just a legal nightmare. Like, my brother and I cremated my mom in Maryland where she died, even though she lived in Delaware, and we're from Pennsylvania, and our family undertaker was just across the bridge in New Jersey. Our lawyer was like, let's just not cross state lines. If that's okay with you guys. And we were like, that's fine.
Yeah.
So it's, like, even just from a non-science point of view, it's a lot to think about, and if it's a friend that's going to do the grave, I don't know how litigious people were back then. It would be harder, I imagine, without the internet to look up what the ins and outs are, but that just seems tricky.
Well, because you can't put it on a plane at this time. You would have to put it on a train.
There's no commercial flights.
Right, so it would have to go through so many state lines, like all of them.
Yeah, all the states,
So I feel like that's kind of interesting that they went through all that trouble, especially, like Brooklyn. Like,
there's a lot of cemeteries.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like,
that's where a lot of my ancestors are, in Brooklyn.
Right. And also, being of Italian descent, there's a lot of Italian people.
Did he work out here? I mean, he must have, but I mean, like, why was he New York based, do you know?
I'm not too certain about that.
Okay.
He was probably just, wanting to get some pizza, but he did appendicitis though.
It's so scary.
Which is sad because that's something that's so treatable now.
I know. And I get really bummed out when people die randomly in the past in history of stuff that now would have been nothing.
I know.
It just feels like such a waste.
It really is, and he was such a big star. Like, imagine.
He was the Beatles.
Yeah, he was the Beatles.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt. I mean, imagine,
JTT.
Imagine
my crush.
Right. Well, yeah. Well,
not sorry. He was young. Okay, fine. Someone more like who would be Luke Perry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's more age appropriate.
So, like, imagine him dying at 31. I mean, he would have been in the middle of filming 90210.
Yeah.
So I think, like, it's so tragic that he is still beloved, obviously.
I know.
But, I hope that, I hope nobody dies in the future.
No death in the future, vote for us for president.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
This is insane. These are saints, but they look like Greek gods.
Yeah, I would rather Greek gods, to be honest.
Well, they at least don't pretend to be modest.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah, look at the, I wonder if St. Christopher, St. James.
Gothic chandelier. All right, so you discovered bodies at your work.
Yeah.
Did you have to were you the one that had to make the phone calls to the families?
I did on probably like 2 or 3 of them.
Okay.
It just so happened that I was there alone on some of those days.
Yeah.
Most of them weren't like gruesome. It was just like they were in their beds or whatever.
Sure.
Only one I found that was kind of like looked like a mess, but
oh no, something specific or just been in there for a minute?
Well, probably there for a little bit, but then it might have been like I don't know. There's a bloody nose, so I imagine maybe there was like an overdose issue or something. So I don't think that. Yeah, I think every time I've like told them, it's kind of like it wasn't too much of a shock. It was usually older people.
Okay.
So it wasn't anything like out of the blue. So when I usually told people, it was like, hey, hi. I didn't say hey. I was like, hello, and just trying to be sympathetic towards that, because it is like there's a reason why I'm calling you, and it is not great. Whatever you're doing right now, it's going to ruin your day. Like, it's going
to stop you in your tracks.
Yeah, no matter what.
For sure.
So so there's like a couple of instances where I did have to tell the family, and it's weird because like the way that they do it is, they have to come.
The coroner.
The coroner has to come.
Right. Unless
they get somebody from one of the mortuaries to come and pick up the body. But, they have to seal it off and everything, make sure nobody, like, so when you go in there and discover it, it's like you have to, like, okay, I have to not do any, I have to not put any, move anything just in case you don't know what they're going to find out and stuff. So,
well, it's wild. Even when someone dies at home, like my dad did, and my brother and I were there. Well, we found them after.
Right.
After the paramedics officially pronounced him dead, because like he had probably only died within the hour before I found him.
Yeah.
So I was pretty sure he was dead. My brother was pretty sure he was dead, but like. The paramedics kind of acted like there was hope for a second. That's another story for another time. They told us to pack a bag for him. And we got to the top of the steps. Like, what the hell am I going to pack? What? Like,
right, yeah.
And so when he was... that's a trauma.
That is.
But that was the worst. Not the worst part, but like in addition to the worst part of him being dead, given that... Because the way they announced it kind of buried the lead too.
Right.
They were like... trying to bullshit with us, like who gets their license first, like me a while ago. Like, and then like, oh, I'm sorry, but your dad's passed on, there's nothing we can do. We tried everything, and it was just like in the same breath. It was super weird. So that was grossly mishandled.
That was so strange.
But we couldn't go back in the room to where he died, even though he was pronounced dead. They had to wait for the coroner, even though the paramedics pronounced him dead.
Yeah.
I don't think they thought it was suspicious. I think they had to rule it out beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
But, like, it was weird to suddenly not be allowed in your family room. And it was just kind of like... And we eventually were just moved to our next-door neighbor's house, who were, like, our collective best friends. But it was just, like... it was weird that, like, he's dead, but the coroner still has to say so.
Right.
And make sure
so
that
strange.
It wasn't, anything suspicious. I'm assuming, but we didn't kill him, spoiler alert, and there was no evidence to make it look like we did, so. But yeah, this is why I like having these talks, because people don't, I'm glad you shared that, because people don't talk about, even if you're not personally attached to someone, death could still happen.
Oh, right.
And you have to deal with that, or you have to deal with the loved ones, and no one talks about coroners.
Right.
Nobody talks about the legal logistics of death. It's not fun.
And even before the coroner comes, like the cops have to literally post up.
Oh.
And until the coroner does get there. So.
Oh, we had, I think it was 4 cop cars and 2 ambulances.
Wow.
Parked outside of our small town Pennsylvania house.
That's so.
Because it was it was a assumed heart attack at home. But I think my dad was well known in the town. Maybe that had something to do with it, but I don't think 911 was in our town. I think it was for the county, so I don't know. But it was just kind of one of those things where word did pass around.
Sorry.
It was wild though, because word did pass around with the cops, because my dad's best friend was the mayor, and he was pulled out of a dinner party by the cops to say my dad had died. And that's how he found out and was at the hospital magically.
Wow.
Because the body also had to go to the hospital. Yeah. Because it was at night, so morgues weren't open. So it was a whole thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff
so,
to even think about. Like, on top of like we were saying about even like with Rudolph Valentino, it's like
a lot of logistics stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like this car is stalking us, so I'm going to stop. Well, that does it for today. We got everyone except for Alfalfa from our gang / Little Rascals, because the way it was described where he was, it wasn't very clear, and we were kind of done scavenging.
And also it was one of the flat ones, like the
those are the hardest.
Those because remember
to be cool like you.
At our last one that we went to, like it was so hard to find anything because everything was like flat. So
I will say though, it was better labeled. Like Hollywood Forever is smaller, so it's more doable, but like he was in like some specific, I don't know if it was a garden or what, but it was like I've never seen on like the curbs that it's
Right.
like, this is the Garden of Legends, which is where all
A1
a lot
or
of the
whatever.
musicians are. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of the mausoleums have corridors that are named or sanctuaries that are named, but it's a really dense cemetery, despite that
Yeah.
it's pretty small. So we just weren't up for it, but. I was telling him, I'm sure, probably not anytime too soon, but I'm sure I'll be back for a third, because there's always people that I discover
Yeah.
that I did not realize were here. People will die, fingers crossed, hopefully not, and be buried here. And I know that there's always like old 30s stars that I'll watch a 30s movie and I'll look up who the actress is and I'll be like, oh, they're here. So I'm sure I will
Right.
find his grave at some point. I just don't know when. But
Yeah. And it's, especially when you're probably, even if you hear a song and you're like, wow, who is that? And,
Yes.
And then you're like, wow, they're actually buried right there.
pop culture, as well as history, as well as like activism history, is so dense. I'm
Right.
gonna be learning all. Okay, good night, Grimmy. I'm just going to bed. Yeah, like I will learn about someone, and I guarantee that they'll be here or another cemetery. So
Yeah.
I think even when I think I've like hit them all, I'll be
Right.
back. So
Yeah.
this was a lovely day. I'm so glad we
Yeah.
found Dee Dee Ramone. Like very
I know,
happy.
yeah.
And we found some others. We passed others we know, because some are right in plain sight. Like
Right.
Johnny Ramone. We didn't catch it on video, but passed him
Yeah.
a few times. And Mel Blanc, and my favorite.
Yeah.
This was a fun day. Thank you for coming
Yeah.
back.
Thank you for having me.
I'm excited that we got a little
Yeah.
more of a lackadaisical taping after our Holy Cross episode.
I know, and I think we were talking about, we both share, like, when I was younger, getting kicked out of somewhere was a badge of honor, but like
Yeah.
now I'm like, I do not want to get kicked out
We're
of anywhere.
reformed punks.
Yes, we definitely are.
Yeah, I didn't even dress the part, but I had the attitude, trust me. And I didn't care.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh God, I'm bothering you. I'm sorry. So,
Yeah, now it's like, because especially when you're like, oh, these people are like, just like, come on. Do I have to kick you out of here?
I know.
Yeah,
I
like,
still think it's hilarious. He's like, no filming graves.
right.
And then he was like, Sharon Tate, come on down.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
show
yeah,
you the
yeah.
murder victim.
Oh.
She wants to be seen on the internet. And
yeah.
it was like,
all the famous people that signed up for it, I guess.
I guess it was just, he's not wrong. It's still always going to be a little bit funny.
Yeah,
'Cause
no, it's very
his demeanor. I wish we had that on film so much.
Oh my God.
It was like a movie where it was
So funny.
a character, like an
Yeah.
SNL character. Oh, fine, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, that does it for today. Clark
Yeah.
Canez, Lady Grimmy is sleeping, and I'm Lauren Blair Donovan. Stay alive till next time.
Yeah.